Not quite the podcast you know and love. It's the Custard TV podcast. All the same faces are here. Gary's face is here.
Hello.
And Matt's face is here.
Yeah, but you can't see our faces, so that's a bit...
You don't know
That's
that.
probably
You
a
don't
good
know.
thing, really.
My face is here as well. On hopefully a non-echoey new microphone. Gary has some time to reflect on his life, on his... and
Wow.
to reflect on his televisual habits as well. Because you've been in the hospital, you've been signed off work, and not that long ago when we did a podcast about our Desert Island dramas, and we were speaking about things we'd seen and things we haven't seen, Gary said, what I need is for somebody to break my legs. And then
Did I say that?
You did say that. You said, what I need
Wow.
is somebody to break my legs so that I
you
can
did.
sit and watch telly for weeks on end.
In
And
that case,
Pathetic.
hold on. What I really need is someone to give me $1 million.
no, I think you
So
only get
hopefully
one of
that
them
will
sort of
happen.
wishes.
Oh, no, let's go a bit down further. What I really want is Gillian Anderson to act as my district nurse.
Oh,
There you go.
yes.
Yep.
Or Danny Minogue.
Just so we know, and so we're all on the same page, which one would you choose as a district nurse?
Danny Minogue.
Didn't even hesitate there. The point of this was to tell you that Gary has now got some free time to watch the shows.
Let's just say nobody has broken his legs.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you mentioned that.
Oh,
bit.
I wanted some air of ambiguity there, where we might have sent over somebody from like a hit squad to break one of his legs. To make
That wasn't
sure
a
he watches
violinist
telly.
that came to visit him in the hospital.
No.
Oh, yeah.
We've spoken loads of times over the course of podcast life.
It's a running
that,
joke.
that Gary's got a list of shows. He's got a list of shows that gets bigger by every podcast. And so I
Pretty
thought
much.
it'd be a good opportunity to look at this list, let Matt and I look at it properly. We could take some off if we know they're absolute rubbish, for a fact, and we know Gary doesn't.
This is the one you should have periscoped, really, because then you could have got feedback on.
So, Gary, it's nice to have you back. Let's go through your list.
There's never been a kind of actual list until now. There's always been a virtual list. But what basically this sort of encouraged me to do was, as you say, was to put everything down that I'd kind of thought of. So this is made up of things that are on my hard drive, a Netflix.
Hello, ladies.
Mrs.
It was up to 88% when I got out of hospital.
See, I'd freak out about that. I'd freak out.
That was the biggest it had ever been. No.
That's because you got
and
Frogget
obviously
on
then-
Series Link.
Yeah.
You got the BBC News on series.
Gosh, can you? My parents once put Coronation Street on Series Link on theirs by mistake.
Ooh.
And my goodness, that's shown a lot off 4 ITV channels.
Yeah.
So,
Does that
right.
pick up, sorry to digress, but
No.
when you series link something, does it pick up all the repeats as well?
Yeah.
No.
Unless
does
you
it? Mine
specify.
doesn't.
Well, yours is Sky, ours is Virgin. It's different.
Oh, yeah. Hello, ladies.
Also on Virgin now, you have what's called Series Link Plus, where it also picks up all the online. So if it's a BBC show, it puts in all the iPlayer links and everything as well. So there you go.
I'm a bit
so it's made up of.
overwhelmed
Could you
by
not
that.
change that in settings? I'm sure there'd be
Oh,
like
you
a
can.
setting.
Yeah. I'm not saying you can't, but
So, and also, I was in a Waterstones today, and it's going to be very
Oh,
similar
God.
to this list.
Books.
Where,
You've learned to
Books.
read, Luke.
but the TV, I went to the TV section, and there is a 1001 shows you should see before you die. I was looking at it, and I wanted to buy it, but I couldn't carry it out the shop. It's so big.
so
I bought my friend the movies book before now, so that's because there's one with movies, there's one with albums, and there's one with just songs.
Of all those things, you can listen to 1001 songs before you die, unless you die on the journey home from buying the book.
Yeah.
If you bought all of those books at once, then you might die.
You're going to be hit by a bus, aren't you? Yeah.
So I'm going to start with a show that I know that you've both seen, and that I watched a lot of whilst I was in hospital. So I managed to catch up right till the end of what Netflix have got with The Good Wife.
Anytime I would text Gary to see how he was, he would always update me on how far he got on The Good Wife.
Yeah. No interest in how he was actually doing.
I should be home on Tuesday, and I finished season 6 of The Good Wife.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought, it'd be a good little way of telling you how bored I was by the fact that I watched both series 5 and 6 in hospital whilst I was there. So
that's quite a lot. That's quite a lot of Good Wife, actually, isn't it?
A lot of Good Wife. I think I was a little bit,
and a lot of good Wi-Fi as well.
Well, yeah. Well, no, I had to pay. That was cheaper than the telly.
See what I did
Wi-Fi,
there?
The Wi-Fi was $10 a week. The telly would have been about £25 for the week. So it was cheaper to pay for the Wi-Fi.
I was doing the gag there, Gary, and you just...
Oh, sorry.
It was sadly
good
missed.
Good Wi-Fi.
Yeah, sorry, I'm still on
He's on a lot of medication.
Now, I don't know how much you two remember, but I kind of felt like
have you finished season?
I'm gonna do a Gary. I haven't finished 6. I'm sort of near the end of 6. But I haven't finished 6. But 6 you can spoil it.
Was that one where she ran for...
Yes, State's Attorney.
State's Attorney.
And I suppose the spoiler is that she wins the race, but then has to withdraw due to some complications or issues around voter fraud, which are linked to the same sort of voter fraud around her husband becoming governor. And I kind of feel like Series 6 kind of falls apart at that point.
Yes, I agree.
And yet there's still about 6 to 8 episodes to go, isn't there?
What I felt with that was that we want to do this storyline where she's in this race. I love the stuff with her and David Hyde Pierce.
Absolutely, that was great. And he was really good.
Yeah, and then it's like, but we don't want her to do this full time, so we need to find some way of getting out of it and some way of... Yeah. That's what I feel they do sometimes, is sort of write themselves into a hole and then have to think of a way to get out of it.
The whole of the end of the series is more like a goodbye to Angie Punjabi's character than it is actually about... Yeah, it is about...
I like that, though. Angie Punjabi makes it sound like a lovely aunt.
So I am looking forward to Series 7. I do know where it's going to go, and I think that's a good thing. What's interesting, obviously, as well, is that her husband is going to be running for president, but with a view to being the vice president.
Yeah.
So obviously that's going to put a lot of scrutiny on the family issues.
To be fair, looking back... That's not a ridiculous proposition, seeing who now is the president.
Well, no, actually, yes, that kind of changes the whole thing, yeah. So, this being my first post-Trump podcast. The thing is, as soon as that comes up on Netflix, I will watch it. I may even dig around and see if there's any cheap DVDs over Christmas, because, there's all sort of Black Friday sales and stuff.
Yeah. Black Friday next Friday, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and I'll be at home, which is great. I'm pretty much going to do all my Christmas shopping
Do you think that most people, and Matt and I would agree, Good Wife is at its peak in 5?
Season 5 is the peak.
I would agree, yeah, I think so.
All the stuff, the peak for me was all the stuff where Carrie and Alicia go to form their own business and the people at Lockhart Gardner are sort of trying to stop them, and that episode is just brilliant.
I think as well
that they'll get shot and things.
Yeah, the fallout from Will, I think, is the absolute is the kind of like the bit where it tips over. Would you say that Series 7 is better than Series 6?
There's some good bits of season set. The political side is stronger. His sort of campaign. Margot Martindale from The Americans comes into it as his new advisor, so that side's strong. The stuff with Alicia, she sort of tries to start her own firm and things like that, and the Cush Jumbo comes into it as her sort of new partner. It's all a bit...
When you say the Cush Jumbo, it makes her sound like an actual jumbo.
So that's kind of top of my list of things that I'd like to watch. I do want to finish it. I know sometimes I've been accused of not wanting to finish shows, but
not on this podcast.
And I have to say, some of that credit goes to Matt. I think I probably would have given up on the Good Wife had Matt not sort of kept saying, "Oh, this is good," and this happens. I keep
talking about The Americans, and he does not want to do the next series. But
he said to me he's going to do that next. Did you know?
Yeah. The next one on the list where I want to get back to is another one which I think at least I know Matt has watched. I'm not sure about Luke. It's Homeland.
No, other way round.
The other way around. Luke has watched and Matt not so much. Sorry. is Homeland. I finished on series 2, which was the end of the plot line of the romance, because Damian Lewis's character exits the show at that point.
No.
Yeah, well, so you kind of have to rebuild the
Can you just
plot.
make that noise again?
It was just...
Yeah, well, I don't know, because I haven't watched it. Is it series 6 and 7 are going to be made?
7's the last. 6's
Seven's the last.
This January.
Yeah, so 6 and 7 are being made, or 6 has been made, 7 will be made. So clearly this recovers from that, because otherwise they wouldn't keep showing it.
I stopped at 3, and that was sort of the end of one arc of story, wasn't it, Luke?
What I liked about Homeland was all the storyline with Carrie and Damian Lewis's character and that. So as Matt quite rightly says, that comes to a close in series 3. And
I didn't say that. I didn't say. I said.
Well,
just
as I quite rightly say, that that comes to a close. Then it sort of turns into spooks for me. I mean, there's always an arcing story, but they don't have that same hook that they had with Damian Lewis, and because Carrie's such a difficult character to be around, what with her bipolar and her instincts and her annoying voice, I found it more difficult to stick.
That's just Claire Danes' voice.
That's just Claire Danes. Bless her heart. Because you're spending the majority of time with her, it's more draining than it was when you were wondering what Damian Lewis was up to, and there was a lot of wonderful ambiguity there and a lot of mystery and intrigue that the third and fourth series completely lack. On the plus side, when Damian Lewis' arc ends, it also means that his annoying daughter's arc ends.
I was exactly going to say the same thing.
In fact,
No
actually,
more
I would
Dana
say
Brody.
the whole family didn't really bring anything to the show.
Not even Chris.
Well, Chris, bless him. I don't know where he is. He could still be in it. Nobody's checked on him. If you wanted to go back to Homeland, I think you would get something out of it, because I know you were a massive Spooks fan, and it does...
Well, not only that, I very much enjoyed the early episodes of Homeland, which were...
so did I.
At least well, yeah, because I don't think that the Damian Lewis stuff got silly until a lot later.
Well, it does in series 3.
Yeah, so I think series 1 was some of the best stuff, because you were still unsure about whether he was what side he was on, what was going on.
What I would say to you is, if you want to go back to Homeland, watch 3, see how you get on with 3. If you don't get on with it, jump to 5, because 5 is where the show reinvents itself a little bit. It takes Carrie out of her comfort zone. She's actually not a part of the CIA. She's living in Berlin with her young daughter, and she's working as a nanny, and then gets drawn back in to something going on there. So 5, I think you'd enjoy. 3 would give you some closure on the whole Damian Lewis thing, but you might enjoy it enough to want to watch 4.
Although the whole stuff in Panama and the what happens to Damian Lewis ultimately, and just
right.
From what I remember, there are some good bits of 3, but it's just... It spends a lot of time.
There's far too many there was a lot of twists that were a bit too clever for their own good in 3.
It's a shame, because it's got some good points, but nobody really talks about it with the same affinity, because it peaked far too early.
Yeah, well, I mean 1 and 2, everyone loved 1, didn't they? I think that was I loved it.
I really liked 2.
And I still go back to, I think the trailer was just amazing. You know, the trailer drew me in from the beginning, and I know that's what trailers are supposed to do, but it made me want to watch that show now.
And it has got a good opening titles.
And I think the other guy, Saul, I can't remember his
Mandy Patinkin.
Mandy Patinkin is a great actor. He was really good in the first 2 series of Criminal Minds, which I really liked.
And The Princess Bride, obviously.
Indeed.
I think you should make your own mind up about Homeland, but I think because you were such a Spooks fan, I think there's something in there for you. But it depends what you watched Homeland for, and for me it was about their relationship, it was about the intrigue and the mystery surrounding those two, and when it turned more formulaic and put all the spotlight on Carrie, I wasn't as enthralled.
I'd like to get back into The Walking Dead. Now, most of that is because, obviously, it's very difficult to stay away from any spoilers to do with this programme, and it's now on series 7, I think, that they're showing at the moment.
What you've got to ask yourself about, because Matt and I don't really watch The Walking Dead, but I suppose what you've got to ask yourself is, what was it that made you stop these shows?